Welcome to the Politica UK InfoPod. One of the biggest questions emerging from the current conflict with Iran is not simply how the war ends militarily, but what happens politically afterwards. In particular, some supporters of Donald Trump have suggested that the war could ultimately lead to a change of leadership in Iran. That raises a fundamental question in international politics. Can an outside power actually control who leads another country after a war? History suggests the answer is rarely straightforward. The Iranian political system is complex and deeply rooted. Since the 1979 revolution, the country has been governed by a system that blends republican institutions with religious authority. At the top of that structure sits the supreme leader, currently Ali Khamenei, alongside an elected president, parliament, and a powerful network of clerical institutions and security forces. Removing or weakening parts of that system through military action does not necessarily determine what replaces it. In fact, history shows that regime change from the outside is one of the most unpredictable outcomes of war. There are examples where outside powers attempted to shape political leadership after conflict. The United States played a central role in rebuilding Germany and Japan after the Second World War, helping create new political systems that became stable democracies. But those cases occurred after total defeat and long-term military occupation, with massive international reconstruction efforts lasting many years. More recent attempts have been far less predictable. In Iraq, the removal of Saddam Hussein led to a new government, but also years of instability, sectarian conflict, and political fragmentation. In Libya, outside intervention removed Muammar Gaddafi, but did not produce a stable national leadership. Instead, the country fragmented into competing factions and rival governments. These examples illustrate a key point. Removing a regime does not automatically create a clear successor. Even if military action weakens the Iranian government, the question of who would lead the country afterwards depends primarily on internal Iranian politics. Several possibilities could emerge. One scenario is that existing political structures within Iran adapt and produce new leadership from within the current system. Another possibility is that reformist or opposition movements inside the country attempt to take advantage of instability to push for change. But there is also the risk that power struggles between different factions could lead to fragmentation or prolonged instability. External actors can influence these processes through diplomacy, economic pressure, and international recognition, but they rarely control them completely. There is also an important political dimension inside Iran itself. Many Iranians oppose aspects of their government and have protested in recent years over economic conditions and social restrictions. At the same time, foreign military pressure can sometimes produce the opposite effect of what outside governments intend. When a country comes under attack, national identity and resistance can strengthen support for existing institutions, even among people who previously criticized their leaders. This dynamic has been observed in many conflicts, where external pressure reinforces domestic solidarity rather than weakening it. For Donald Trump, the strategic challenge is therefore larger than simply winning a military confrontation. Even if military operations achieve their immediate objectives, shaping the political future of Iran would require influence over a society of more than 80 million people, with its own history, factions, and political movements. And that is something no outside leader can easily dictate. Ultimately, the future leadership of Iran will likely depend far more on internal Iranian political forces than on decisions made in Washington or any other capital. Wars can change the balance of power, weaken governments, and open political space for change. But history shows that the people of a country usually determine who governs them next, not the foreign powers that fought the war. That question, who leads Iran after this conflict, may turn out to be one of the most important and unpredictable consequences of the war now unfolding. This InfoPod was brought to you by Politica UK.